Hey everyone, Blauaki Cove here, and this is a continuation of our basic webhook tutorial for the advanced coders out there. Now to reiterate, to get the webhooks, we're going to go to input control, webhooks, and then we're going to add a new bind. We're going to set up our path, so I can name this whatever, and then I can tie it to any one of my chat commands. So let's just say I wanted this to shock me. I can test out this command. So you'll hear that. I can paste in the URL into a web browser, or I can of course use it as a regular GET request. See that? And to look at the code really quick, you'll see that in the website, I have api.lumiastream.com/api/wh, and then the username. So I'm ahacove, and then the URL, which is that shock or my path, or whatever I named it here. And it's just a simple fetch request. It's all a GET request. You can also send a post request, which we'll show how to use later on. Now, most importantly, we showed how to use query parameters inside of the last video. You'll just send, so I can just go to /tts username, which is the variable, put in my value for the variable, and then I can add another variable like message, and then add a value for that message. I said, wow, I'm having a good day. I'll press enter. You'll see. The query parameters are important because we're going to need these for our GitHub setup. So I have my repository right here. I'm going to go to settings. I'm going to go to webhooks, and then I'm going to go to add a webhook. So after we get to add a webhook, we'll need to put in our payload URL. So let's go back to Lumiastream and let's create a quick chat command. I'm going to add a new command. I'm going to call it Github Commit. For now, let's just do a simple reaction RGB, and we won't do anything else at the moment. This is just to have a chat command that the webhook is tied to, because you can't change what the webhook is tied to after you create it. So we're going to go to input control, webhooks, and add a new bind. We're just going to call this gcommit. I'm going to name this gcommit, and I'm going to bind this to GitHub commit. Now I'm going to copy this URL by pressing that here, and I'm going to come back into GitHub and paste that in. I'm going to change the content type to application/JSON because we will need to use the variables that are passed through the post body. No secret, and SSL verification is fine since it's on our HTTPS web server. But I don't want everything to be sent. I only want certain individual events to be sent. So for instance, I can just have Git push to a repository. So anytime something is pushed, I can have Lumia react to it. So I'll make sure that's active, add webhook, and it just tested it out immediately. So that's nice to see. Now, if I go back over to my repo, let's just change something just to see if it's working. So I push, and then the lights go off. Perfect. So it's set up. But let's say I wanted to trigger only when a certain user makes the commit. So we'll go back over to Lumiastream, and we'll go to our chat command now. I'll press edit. And then I'll go to custom JavaScript. And now here's where I'll put in my if statement. So as I mentioned earlier, this is a post request, and GitHub sends a body that has different variables that we can use inside of here. So I can do let sender equals get variable sender. Then I can say if sender equals ahacove, then we want to continue. Else return should stop equals true. So this says if the sender is equal to ahacove, which is me, it's going to continue the command. But if it's not, then it's going to stop it completely. We're also going to show a toast of who the sender is. So let's say sender here. And now let's save it, apply, and let's try again. So if I git push, you'll see the toast show up. So the sender is actually really long. So sender.login equals aha-cove. That's what I need to be using, not sender. And if you're ever lost, check out the GitHub documentation. Under webhooks, they have this webhooks guide, and they show the webhook events and payloads. We'll link to this down in the description down below. So the sender is an object, actually. It's not a string. So I'll go back to the GitHub commit and I'll go to sender.login. That's what we need. But before we leave, let's also have a TTS message that says what repository this is on, as well as who's sending this message. So if you look right here in the description documentation, I'll look up repository. Let's see what this sends. So this has a name, a repository.name, as the full name, the owner, and so on and so forth. But we only need that repository.name. So I'll go to TTS enable and I'll say new push on repository. And I'll say repository.name. Now Lumiastream uses dot notation for objects. So repository is an object, and then I'm going to do dot name because this is repository and the property is name. So repository.name, and I'm going to say from sender.name. Oh no, sender.login, right? So I'll press apply, refresh, and now I'll make another commit. So I'll push this. And then my lights will go off. So test webhooks from aha-cove. That's the repository. Test webhooks, as you see. And it said aha-cove because I'm the one that pushed it. Now you're getting a better understanding of how webhooks work and how you can use them to extract more information out of it. We can't wait to see what you all do with this. Leave a comment down in the description down below of what you're going to be using webhooks for. And we hope you all have a luminous day.